Welcome to the 8 Minute Rule podcast, where actual physical therapists share clinical pearls designed to create conversation around what's getting results in the clinic. No fluff, no Medicare stopwatch, only quality content.
Welcome back to the 8 Minute Rule. I'm Drew, along with Mark here, and I'm going to be asking the questions for us today. And today, what we wanted to talk about was AI, and as more and more AI is being incorporated into everything that we're doing, really, what are the parts of PT, physical therapy experience from the patient's perspective that you think will potentially be replaced, could be replaced by AI, and what will never be replaced? And we're always going to need our clinicians in order to fill those roles.
So, my immediate thought process is exercise prescription, particularly like dosing. That a lot of that can be done, especially when you're talking about like just strengthening, or you give a prompt like, "Oh, I want endurance," or "I want strength," or "I want motor control." AI is pretty good at like the programming aspect of things. In fact, if you haven't used it for personal programming, it's actually pretty handy in that regards as well. So given a PT's expertise to kind of give it the right prompts, and I think that it takes the thought process out of it, and just it really spits out high quality dosing without like me having to think about it necessarily. And I think that can be refined and will be refined as it's intaking information from the patient. From your subjective evaluation, but that's I think that's a low hanging fruit area where, obviously as a PT, you're still going to be reviewing it and making sure that it's what you want precisely and everything, but it can make some really strong recommendations on both exercise types and dosing of those things.
Yeah, I agree with those completely. I'm going to go, where do I think it can't be replaced? And I know we've talked, you and Jordan talked about this a few weeks or months ago about the human experience, but I'm going to take my own perspective on that. And I think there's a large part of what we do connecting with the patient, almost the ritual of the exam, the hands-on and building that trust. I think it's going to be hard to build a lot of trust into AI and computers with a patient. And then the other thing is the motivation, self-efficacy, and building those things. Those are things that I don't see AI doing a really great job at that. I mean, there's a lot of perfect, exactly, and telling you what you want, but it feels very different coming from another human being. So people who have questions, fears, anxieties around a condition, exercising, things like that, with a lot of the psychosocial components, I think that's going to be a really difficult thing for AI to be able to connect with the person because it's AI and help bring them along to better health. So the person who's self-motivated can, confident with exercise and movement, those are going to be ones that are probably going to be fine and do have no ill effects, or the outcomes aren't going to be significantly worse versus going to see a PT. But I think in the future that PT is going to have to be really good at connecting with the patient, dragging them to better health. And part of that, I think, is even just leading the way. When you look at why is CrossFit so popular, or why is, classes and gyms, because you have kind of the community of people who keep you motivated and accountable. If you don't have that somewhere, it can be more difficult to do that on your own if you don't intrinsically have that built in.
Yeah, and I think to your point, we know like manual therapy, just putting your hands on a patient causes a cascade of things occurring in the body and nervous system. And, that can't be replaced. Now, that's the obvious thing where it's like, okay, well, we're safe there. But yeah, I think the motivation, the communication with those that have a little bit more strong beliefs about things, AI does in its current form, tell you, oh, great question. Oh, great job. You're on the right track. Like all of these little phrases and things. And doesn't really do anything for me because it doesn't really make a connection with, how I'm actually feeling or anything like that. It's just words on a screen essentially. And there's nothing really behind it. So yeah, I totally agree with that part of it for sure.
What do you think it might look like in the future? Some sort of a mix with AI and or in person. Do you think it'll look a lot different than it does now as AI continues to improve upon and maybe even get better at some of those, like just telling you what you want to hear and tells you more of what you need to hear.
Yeah, I think patients are going to be generally more receptive to those hard conversations in person from another human being than to be told, by a computer, hey, your diet sucks, you don't exercise enough, you're weak, whatever, all of these things. Like, that's just not gonna go well, really. So that those hard conversations about behavior change, I think, are going to be received better from another human. But I think that it will look different in the sense that, from a provider standpoint, I'm going to be offloaded quite a bit of my brain power that's spent on very repetitive things that something else could be trained to pick up on and do very quickly. And when I think of that, I'm thinking again of the exercise prescription, but I'm also thinking of like pattern recognition. Like, I've done it a lot and I can pick up on those things pretty quickly, but it's going to pick up on things that a human may even miss. Like, okay, I've got this very clear clinical pattern that, oh, okay, I know exactly what I need to do with this person, but maybe I've missed up on, one or two pieces of information, data points that, may make 5% difference in a patient's outcome, but that's still 5% better or quicker.
Yeah. I heard someone say one time that computers are very fast and dumb and humans are slow but brilliant. I think a lot of some those maybe maybe more abstract or those other connections taking into consideration the whole human being, everything from beliefs, emotions, things like that, that I don't know how AI is picking up on it, especially if it's not something that's told to. Like, there's sometimes, like, you can just sense this person is not in, like, their confidence in this, whatever it is, not high. So you have to adjust based on the human being in front of you. But I think that's going to be something that is not replaced. The other thing that I was thinking was it might look slightly different in terms of the patient coming in and kind of confirming, hey, here things are going well. There's not a whole as much need for me. There's some programming, some progressions that can be done, like you said, the AI side of things. But I'm here if you need me, and I'm going to check in 3 weeks and say, hey, how are things going? Follow up. You're a resource for things that are not done well by AI, that other human being. And so it might be, post op, instead of seeing them 2 to 3 times a week, they're interacting with AI, they're doing their thing, and I'm seeing them twice a week and making sure things are going well, addressing any fears and the other components that are needed. So I think it can look different for a lot of patients, but for some, I don't think it'll change those with a lot of psychosocial components for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that the remote improvements will definitely be significant. And I think we'll see, but having AI pick up on body language, subtleties of tone and stuff, I think that's going to get better and better. But we'll see how accurate it actually is when it's trying to, navigate complex human beings.
Yeah. It's come a long way in the last 2 years. We'll see where it's in two more. It's interesting. All right. I don't know how Jordan usually ends it, but that's all we've got. So we'll see ya.
See you next time.